Hey guys, today we're going to take this amazing Australian red ironbark and we're going to turn it into this, so stick around. Hey guys, today we're going to mill up something really neat. We've got a great video in store for you today. We're going to mill up some red ironbark. It's from Australia. And it's a really cool wood. They call it timber down in Australia, but super dense. It sinks in water when it's dry and a little bit difficult to work, but it just takes a real glassy polish after you finish it. Let's go grab the log up here, get the log loader. We got a little skiff of snow last night, just enough to tease us. So I put the snow blower on the Bobcat because I didn't want it to snow very much. If I would have left the snow blower off, we would have had like that much snow today because I wouldn't have been prepared. So I put it on so we wouldn't have any snow. I think it worked. Come on, baby. All right, oil pressure. Pull the heel back. It's gonna be a little tricky to grab it. Just gonna let it roll. Okay. Got a hold of it. Don't really like the way I've got it. So I'm going to spin it 90, rest it. Okay. I'm going to set it down there for a minute. All right, I got the red gum log down. There's a couple really neat things that I'd like to show you about the log. First, we've got one large trunk that splits into two major trunks, and in between that we're going to have some really nice crotchwood. That'll have some really good figure in it. It just always does. Something interesting about red gum, or in this case it's red ironbark, but it exudes a red gum. And if you look really closely over here at the bark, there's these big fissures, and it's black and it's crystalline. So even though it's frozen outside and there's real ice crystals here, these aren't ice crystals and they reflect just like ice crystals. Really kind of a neat thing. The wood is super dense. They will use it for ship rudders because bugs don't like to eat it, but they'll put a piece of it in with the ship rudder itself and it keeps the worms away in the ocean so the rudder doesn't get eaten. There's some interesting, on the inside, come on over here. There's some interesting things that the bark on the inside or the cambium layer can show us. It shows this pattern that just kind of undulates back and forth. So I can read that. We've got some interlocked grain like that. So if you look, one side will be light, one side will be dark in my hand, and it's going to be doing that inside. So, and I can actually see the grain shifting back and forth through here. So we'll get some interlocked grain that'll look really pretty inside of here, at least at this end. And I can also, on the end cut, I can see a little bit of fiddleback in here. So probably not too much, but it'll be interesting. Pretty heavy log. I think I'm going to try to get as much of this bark off of it as I can before we mill it. Just so we don't have to cut through so much of it. So I get the log loader and just kind of rub off some of this stuff and then put it on Slabzella and get cutting. I'm gonna slough a little bit of that bark off of there just to clean it up a little bit. I'm gonna pull it away from the wall. There's some bark. So I don't want to hurt the wood at all here. I'm just gently putting pressure and lifting, and I'm able to get a lot of that bark off, which is really nice. Alright, I'm going to pick it up and see what bark is left over. I guess there's a little bit there. Okay, that's off. Yeah, it looks really good. Got a little bark on the bottom, that's no big deal. Alright, I'm going to clean it off. Yeah, I think we're good to put it on. So the whole trick with this is to use the log loader as a scalpel instead of a huge sledgehammer. Because we could just destroy that log, but we got the bark off for the most part and it looks really clean. Track forward. Okay. So I knew the log was going to roll a little bit, and it did. Okay. I think that's in there well enough that I can use the deck tools to move it where we want to. Alright, put the log on Slabzella. It's on there kind of cattywampus right now. So let's see if I can straighten it out, get it clamped in. Raise that outside one. That's teeter-tottering. See if we can get it down this way a little bit. So with a lot of logs, you're looking to keep that center of the heart the same all the way down through the piece, but to get really wide slabs, it's kind of counterintuitive, but you pretty much just want to lay it flat on the sawmill deck, and we're going to end up with stuff that's, you know, maybe a foot down from the end here that we're just going to have in smaller pieces of lumber or smaller slabs, that kind of thing. But what that will do, that'll give us nice wide slabs that are pretty consistent through the bottom of this log. I purposefully put this knot right here on the top because we're going to slice it off. It's not going to help us make nice slabs, so may as well just get rid of it. Okay, so this can happen with the larger logs that fork. My outside dog that's a meter high or 3 feet high went down part of the way and got hung up on it. So I'm going to have to unclamp the log, scoot it over this way a little bit, and then reclamp it. So I've got to be really careful I don't shove it too hard now that my dogs are down in the back, because the log could go over the edge. That wouldn't be a good day. Okay, I like that right there. Okay, so we're clamped in really good. These are actually made to go the other direction, so they stair-stepped up and out. And I think their logic was these little things would, the sharp angles would bite into the log. But I found it works better if you just turn them around and you have a tall edge. It's just a blunt force and it just holds it in place much better. I don't know what kind of species that they were looking at when they designed these, but definitely this red ironbark from Australia will slough its bark as you're trying to clamp it. So it's a good debarker, but it doesn't work so well for actually clamping it in place. Honestly, that log weighs enough that I probably wouldn't even have to clamp the log. I just need something on the other side just to kind of hold it there. But it's got a lot of weight. I'm going to say that's probably 6,500 pounds, give or take a little bit. So let's get Slabzella out. And clear the door. Door's coming down. Alright, sawdust chute is down. So Slabzella has a nice function in its set works. It's called top of cut. And what that lets me do, I put the blade maybe an inch above the log, and then I can just hit the top of cut, and then it's going to take me back to that height after I go down with each one. 25, 55, 80. So 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch. It's clear. Okay, so we've got top of cut set, and we'll just do some 25 mil at first. That first one's just going to be slag. Hey guys, we've got this most of the way milled on Slabzella. Can't mill any lower or I'm going to be cutting into the clamps. Don't want to do that. But I'm going to flip through a few of these boards and we can see what they look like. That's just kind of a slag piece. The nice thing about Slabzella being self-cleaning, I'm done. So I'm starting to see a little bit of figure in here. Looks like little teardrops. Sure, it'll just get better as we go down. There we go. Getting some nice color in there. Yeah, they look really nice. We'll have to get some water on it to see what it's going to look like, but it's got the teardrop pattern in there. Nice red colors. The sawdust just reminds me of like salmon red, so it's kind of cool. It's dusty. So there's a knot right here. It's a little bit rotten in the knot. Starting to see a little crotch figure off of that, which didn't think would be there, but it looks like it is. Yeah, that's pretty. See the reds in there. Some black streaks, sort of. Here's some of that crotch wood, just a little bit of it. So if you're wondering where 4/4 sawn comes from, we're going to take a slab that's like this one. We're going to cut the center out. So you're going to end up with about 8 inches, maybe 9 inches, 10 if we're lucky, of 1/4 sawn on either side of this slab. That's how you do it. A little tricky today. There we go. Well, I'm going to do something a little unorthodox. I'm going to get the loader and see if I can't get some of that stuff to come off of there, just where we have it. Okay, so I am 25 feet away from that log. Let's see how well I do today. There's one piece. It's hard to slow the grapples down when they start to swing like that. really hard. Those grapples weigh, I'm going to say upwards of 6,000 pounds. So that weighs as much as like a Ford F-150, just swinging in the breeze. Look out there. Okay, that looked like it's bumped it pretty good on the far side. There we go, there's a good chunk mark. Alright, I'm going to clean that off here, see if that helped at all. Alright, now I'll just clean up some bark. Gosh, the log loader makes it look simple. It's not. So anytime we cut these super wide slabs, this is what you run into when you're pushing your machine to the maximum width. Right now, we could trim that off and we have about 2 inches of room. But if I run into this log with these guides, or with the main frame on the saw, we're going to be down for days until parts get here to fix the problem. So it's one of the reasons why the big slabs cost more money, because it takes more time for me to get out here and make sure we're not going to damage our equipment. So it just adds more time. So it looks good. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And we're going to get some 1 inch off the top, and then we'll get a slab or 2 off the bottom here. But it should be pretty. The crotch is right there. We'll see how it turns out. Alright, I think I've gotten most of the non-slab wood cut off of the bottom half, and I've got a big chunk left over down here. Let's see how thick that is. So right about 6 inches. So I'm going to cut that so we get 2 slabs that are at 3 inches or slightly under. I think that'll be pretty good. So I'll go manually adjust. It doesn't like to use its set works when it's below about 5 inches or 6 inches. So I put it in and it went into full panic mode. It thinks it's going to cut the deck, but the deck is below it. You want to know something funny? I hate sawdust. Here it is everywhere. Going to make it a little bit easier for the forklift to come in and pick it up, because it's pretty tight right there. So we'll loosen up the clamps. Okay. And then the beauty of this mill is pick it straight up. It'll be really easy for him to get it with the forklift now. So here's the easiest way to clean the sawdust and stuff out of the log turners. Alright, ready for the next log. Okay, so we finished cutting the red ironbark from Australia on Slabzella. Let's go see what it looks like. This is beautiful Australian ironbark. Look at this stuff. We've got red stripes, we've got some goldens and tan. There's even a hint of some black down here. That is really pretty. We've got some nice live edge on here. Really nice material. A little bit of crotch figure up here. You can see where somebody cut a limb off of that one a long time ago and it grew over it. And this guy over here, just really nice, great colors in here. And we've got the crotch figure, kind of an interesting end grain on that one. Really nice. For the last 30 years, Australian red ironbark has become more popular with crafters that like to make tables, they like to make furniture, they like to make boxes, or they like to turn it into bowls or vessels or things like that. It's really gotten a lot more popular, and it's a fairly affordable Australian wood, and it has a lot of the exotic properties that we like out of woods that we get from Brazil or Africa, and it doesn't cost as much. So it's a better value for your dollar, and it looks really exotic and really pretty, and we can get some nice boards out of it. With this one, we'll get quarter sawn boards that are about 8 to 10 inches wide. So if you're wondering how big of a log it takes to get quarter sawn material, this is pushing 30 inches or better, and we're only getting maybe 8 to 10 that's quarter sawn. So really neat species. We've got it in all sorts of different sizes. Big pieces, small pieces, pen blanks, turning blocks. If you go to cookwoods.com, you'll be able to find some of it there. Hey guys, if you liked today's video, please hit the like button at the bottom and subscribe. We've got a lot more amazing videos coming your way, so stick around. You're not going to want to miss them.